Hey, all my sexy friends, it's Shara. I am contacting you from New Zealand, and it is about 11:45 midnight. I just wanted to pop on real quick. I'm trying to finish up this Christmas in July picture. It's the only one that I've done. And I just did this image from Daydreams by Hannah Carlzon. And I just colored it in Christmas colors so that it appeared as a Christmas festive page. And I will submit this for Christmas in July. And I just wanted to chit chat a little bit. I hadn't talked to most of you for a while, and I'm having a wonderful time here with my daughter Sabrina and her husband and my gorgeous, amazing grandsons, Andrew, who is 7, and Liam, or Yum Yum as I call him, who just turned 1. And we are patiently awaiting the arrival of O Catalina. She is due August 23rd, so we have just about 3.5 weeks to go. And we're pretty excited. We've been readying the nursery with as much pink as we can stomach. It's amazing. I love it. I remember when I had my daughter, in between 2 boys, I had my daughter. And when I did the laundry for the first time, it was glorious. The entire washer was pink, and it was just amazing. So it's the same thing with O Catalina's things. We got a lot of clothes that were given to her from her best friend in America that had a baby girl in February, and she's a big girl, so there were quite a lot of brand new things that were sent to, or that were given to Sabrina, and she brought them home from America. But Grandma has done quite a bit of shopping as well. I know I have already told you many times that I am an active shopaholic with no intentions of stopping or going into recovery. I like it, and I don't spend more than I have, and it makes me feel good, so I do it. And as soon as I got the word, I found out via FaceTime. They did a gender reveal party, and her lovely nieces danced. It's not a hula, but it's similar. It's a Tongan dance, and then had 3 orbs that were filled with confetti to match the color of the gender of the baby, or, society's picks for what color goes to which gender. And I got to watch that live on FaceTime, and my daughter's face was just lit up like you couldn't believe. She loves her sons, but she has been anxiously waiting to see if she will have a daughter. She has 2 sons, and she is over the pink moon, as am I. I'm the oldest of 3 girls, no boys, and then each of my mom's children, my mom and dad's girls, we each had a boy first and then a girl, and then I went the extra step. My sisters stopped at 2, but I went the extra step and had another boy. So the boys outnumber the girls, and in Sabrina's husband Stanley's family, there are, O Catalina will be the 17th grandchild, and for the last 7.5 years, 8 years ago, we had a girl born, and then 6 boys have been born. Since then, my son Andrew is the oldest after the last girl, and he's 7.5, and then it slowly goes down to 6, another 6, and then 5, and then 4, and then Oh, and then I think Yum Yum is the last, so that's 6. And now Oh Catalina is very, very highly anticipated. So we are all excited. But as soon as I found out she was a girl, my fingers went a walking. And I got on some websites, and of course, I don't know how, but I ended up, of course, to the, the Bloomingdale's website, and, these expensive stores. And, oh, I decided she just had to have a Ralph Lauren cardigan. I think it's a size 18-month or 12-month, but that was the only real ridiculous thing that I purchased. I think everything else was pretty reasonable. I'm not happy with the way this blue is going down, but I'm just going to put it down and then hope either with Gamsol in my Copic or adding another color that I'll be able to fix it. I don't know why. I don't know if it's that it's up against the seam or the binding here or what, but the spine is here and it's kind of bumpy, so it's making this dark line, but I really don't mind. This is just going to look like a night sky. I have limited supplies here in New Zealand. I brought a lot, but I do have limited supplies. I did purchase a set of Aquacolor crayons by Lyra, and I have been practicing with those. They act as watercolors, and they were much less expensive than the Neo 2s, and since I am just not that versed or that experienced in watercoloring or any water mediums for that fact, I just opted to get the Lyras. I love their pencils. I love the Chunky Monkeys, and so I felt that they would probably be fine, and I really do like them. I bought some very inexpensive bamboo watercolor paper, and now, like I said, I know nothing about watercolor. I have not ever had any training or even watched videos or anything, but I know that if I try to watercolor on the Amazon paper or any other kinds of paper, it tends to soak in, and it'll stay in one spot. It'll pill the paper. I try to, really concentrate on how much water is going down. I wipe the brush frequently, but, different papers. But I did notice that the bamboo paper that I bought, that, like I said, it was very inexpensive. I think I got 100 sheets of it. It is a kind of an off-white, which is fine for me. And it's not terribly thick. But, and I have not tried to color on it with pencil, but when I do use the Aquacolor crayons, which I'm thinking, I've never seen a Neo 2, but I've seen them, I've never seen them in person, but I've seen them being used, and these Aquacolors appear to be quite similar, and when I use those, I notice that the pigment kind of floats on the top of the paper, and I can move it around with the water, but I can take a lot of water away, and it does seem to not absorb as quickly. I do notice that, and I don't know if it's just the Aquacolors or if it's typical of all water color paints, that once it dries, first off, it dries a lot lighter than when it goes down, And when it dries, it actually becomes dry. And I don't know if that's the paper or if that's typical of watercolor, that's what it does. Like I said, I am very, very new to this, so I do like the paper. I love the way that I can, get the paint and the water to kind of flow on top. It's almost like how oil sits on top of water and you can push it and move it around. That's what the watercolor seems to be doing. I'll try to get on and do that. It's difficult for me to get on and stream. I can't even really talk on the phone. I'm loud, and even if I try to talk quiet, people aren't used to people sitting on the phone and having long conversations anymore. And with the kids running around and everything, it's just awkward for me. So I don't know that I'll be getting on live very often, but I do want to get on and show you all how those Lyra Aqua colors work, and I'll when I do that video, I'll share a link for those. I think I mentioned this book I'm using right now is Daydreams by Hannah Carlzon, and I've colored a couple of pictures in this. I think I've posted, and I'm using my Pablos, and I think it's this color because I really do feel like it came out very beautiful with the Pablos. I got a lot of nice blends, and it just worked out really nice. But this pencil, I don't know if it's because it's so much to put down, or I'm tired, it's late at night, I'm not sure, but I'm definitely not. I did much better here where I first started than I'm doing here. So I don't know, maybe I should stop and come back to it tomorrow, but I'm in the mood to do this, and I think I'll be able to blend it. I think I'm going to put purple. I maybe even want to mix, this is about the darkest, other than indigo. I might add some indigo, but I am going to add some dark purple, and then I'm going to glitter up the sky with stars, of course. I have Wink of Stella, and I also have my glitter pen, but I did run out of my gold glitter, and I lost my silver glitter pen somewhere, and I don't know where. Anyway, I might add some black to the sky. I don't know how that works, and we'll see. I like to try things out, and this is a very beautiful picture, but I don't mind. I keep trying backgrounds because a lot of my pictures are ruined from my failed attempt at a background. But I won't learn if I don't keep trying. And I do practice on other sources, disposable, pictures that are messed up already or that got ruined. I don't waste things, even if someone dries their hand with a paper towel and tries to cast it aside after drying a clean hand. I'll snatch those papers up and let them dry, and then I use them for when I'm doing watercoloring, or when I'm filling my Copic marker, or when I'm filling my Gamsol into my Copic, just because, those paper towels are perfectly fine for that. And there's no sense in throwing them away after, drying up some water on the counter or drying your hands. So I'm constantly, my son knows now that if it's a clean use paper towel, I don't want one that they've blown their nose into. But if you just sat a sandwich on top of it and, to eat at the couch, or, something silly like that, sure, I can use that for my for my watercolors or for, you know, getting some Gamsol oil on. You know, they're perfectly fine for that. So he knows, he just leaves them wadded up on the kitchen counter or something. And, you know, I'm such a neat freak, and he's a neat freak as well. So we, you know, I quickly grab them, and they only take a minute or two to dry, and then they're perfectly good for a multitude of chores or whatever uses. And that always makes me happy. But I am just not happy with how this is coming out. I just can't, you know, I'm going to show you this area if I can. I can't really go in more, but you can see that area is much smoother there than what I'm getting here. You know, you can see this is just so splotchy. Oh well, I'm sure I can blend it out. I'm trying not to freak out about it. I'll just get her done. Anyway, so here in New Zealand, it is winter. I think some of you have seen my other videos and know that winter is upon us. And it's, you know, as far as, you know, North Dakota or, you know, Virginia, where the, you know, where it's really cold, you know, it gets down into the 30s Fahrenheit at night. And, you know, it's not getting up above much the low 50s. And this, you know, San Diego gal, you know, isn't used to that. And, you know, I have a median temperature of about 75 degrees. And that's, you know, for the whole year, we are usually at about that temperature. In fact, I went on to, I was trying to figure out what was 75 degrees in Celsius, and I opened up my my weather app on my phone, and I just slid it over to San Diego because I have that stored. And wouldn't you know it, it was exactly 75 degrees in San Diego. So I instantly was able to find out what that was in Celsius or centigrade. And I just cracked up because I had told a gentleman that was here working on the house about, you know, that I came from a very, you know, moderate temperature fluctuation city or state, or our country can get really cold in some places. But he was actually here fixing the fireplaces, which is the sole heating source in the house. This house, the houses are older houses. They were not built with central heat, which may make it feel colder because the house is so cold. And, you know, you can't keep a fire going all night long. You can start one, and it's more like a stove kind of heater. And, of course, you can start one before bed, but, you know, it just doesn't radiate into the house like a central heat does. And like I said, you know, this San Diego girl is, you know, lives a pretty moderate existence in California. And, you know, it starts getting into the 60s, and we put our Ugg boots on. Oh, but anyway, so it's just a new thing, or, you know, this is my 4th time here this year, but so it's really not new to me anymore. But my daughter and I, and of course she was born and raised in Southern California, and we just feel that she went to Utah and lived there for almost a year, and it's cold in Utah, and they get a lot of snow. I mean, they were even getting snow into April one year. And so she knows what cold is, but she keeps saying that that New Zealand just feels like a bitter cold, that it just gets to your bones. And I really think it's because when we're indoors, it's harder to stay warm. We really have to work at it because the only heat source is the stove fireplace, and it's not the most efficient. And they don't have, the older homes didn't have the insulation that newer homes have. So the structure that we're in stays so cold, and that's what we're not used to. And so that's what our bodies are complaining about, because we're so used to, okay, it's fine if we're getting out, if we bundle up and get outside and, we expect to be cold there. But once you come indoors, you don't expect to be cold. And for the most part, we are. And so we're learning when you sleep and any body part gets outside. Oh my goodness, it just feels like it's, instant frostbite. And it really is discouraging anyone to get out of bed when you're lying in bed and it's warm and toasty, but your nose can feel the coldness, and the tip of your nose is freezing. It's hard to motivate yourself to get out of bed, and it's even harder when you're retired and don't have to get out of bed. You don't have any requirements that you have to get out of bed. So I have tended to be wrapped up in jammies all day long. But I think I'm going to end this. I hear a baby crying, and he seems to be having quite a fit, so I'm going to go see if I can help out. The poor little guy was sick for 3 weeks, and he's been doing fantastic this last week, and he's just such a happy kid, and he's so smart, and he's playing and stuff, but he really has been struggling with his sleep. And that's real hard on my daughter. And then with the new baby coming, it's weighing on her heavy that, she's probably never going to sleep again, or at least not for many years. And I think she's a little nervous about that. But I know all of us new moms get that way. When you have, a third or even a second, you worry. So anyway, friends, I have just been blabbing on, and I just mainly wanted to say hello and let you know that I am thinking of you, and I have caught a couple of you in chats. Again, that's very difficult. I'm running on about 4 hours sleep. Because I really wanted to get on at least for a little bit to Christine's chat this morning, and I did. I was able to do that, but it was, it came on at 4 o'clock in the morning, or I'm sorry, it came on at, I think it was 6 o'clock in the morning, or maybe it was 5. Honestly, I can't remember now, but I didn't go to bed until 4 o'clock in the morning. And then my grandson, or maybe 4:30, and then my grandson, who's 7, his alarm is going off at, just before 8 to get up for school. And of course, he can get up and get himself dressed and pour himself a bowl of cereal. But Grandma wanted to get up with him and spend a little bit of morning time before he had to go to school. So I was able to get up and prepare his breakfast, and he was just able to, focus on getting his backpack together and brushing his teeth and all of that. And we just spent 20 minutes, half an hour just sitting, and he had the TV on, but we were just gabbing. And then every night I've been reading him Stuart Little. When Andrew moved here from the States, he was really struggling with reading it, and he's such a bright kid, and he has an incredible vocabulary, so we were really surprised that he was struggling, and he was struggling with his letter recognition, and even letters in his own name he was struggling with, and I was very surprised because his mom is really smart, and he was 18 months and was saying all 100 words in a 100-word book. and able to recognize them when you pointed to them, not just say them after you say them. It wasn't just regurgitating what we said. He was actually saying the word, and he also knew some words in sign language. So I was really surprised that he was having such a hard time with his with his reading. And then when he moved here, he actually was bumped up just because of the difference in school system. He missed a half a year of first grade and was immediately put into the last half of first grade. And he had just finished kindergarten they moved here June, and he had just finished school, just finished kindergarten, and then he started in the latter half of first grade. So he was already a half a year behind the other students, but that boy has caught up so well. He is reading so amazing, and his writing, not just the the physical penmanship that he has, but he's able to really write sentences and all that. So I've been reading him Stuart Little, which is fun. I have a blast reading it to him, and and then it's also helping him go to sleep, because he'll have a tendency to want to watch a movie, and we know that staring in front of the TV sometimes prevents us from sleeping instead of encourages it. I'm not much of a TV person. I haven't had one at home in 4 years, and but I know they have their place, and it's kind of hard when that's what the kids want to do, but he's a good kid. He goes out and rides his bike, and his dad takes him out, and they go play at the park, and they ride their bike there, and he's great. So anyway, I've been reading him Stuart Little, and it just reminds me of, first off, when I was a kid and first read Stuart Little, and I can't recall if it was read to me or if I read it first. I was reading pretty early. I think I was like 4 when I started reading, and I loved reading all the way through. I think it was the beginning of high school. No, even after I slowed down definitely once I hit high school. There was just so much more demands on me academically that I didn't have time for casual reading. And then, I had to read books for, American Lit and all that. But my own personal reading kind of fell by the wayside. And then I picked it up a little back after I graduated high school, went into the Army, and started picking it up a little bit. And even after my first son was born, I continued to read. But by the time I had my third one, I don't know how people read when they have children. I was a single mom by the time my youngest ones were 2 and 4, or 2.5 and 4. So I just never found the time to read for myself. I was reading them books all the time. It went from where I was reading my, Jurassic Park or something like that, to where, I was reading, back to reading Green Eggs and Ham and The Cat in the Hat, which of course I love. And I think my favorite book ever is Green Eggs and Ham. And then next to that is The Grinch, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. So those are probably my 2 absolute. I don't know. I really, really love the book, The Monster at the End of This Book by Grover from Sesame Street. A fantastic book. And my mom used to read it to us in such an animated way. And then I passed that animated way on down, and I was able to find it in a board book so the littler kids can play with it, and it's sturdy so it'll last a while in case, you know, it ever goes out of print or something. So, you know, I know a lot of people like Where the Wild Things Are, and the I'll Love You Forever. Yeah, you know, those books are okay, but everyone has their favorites and what sticks home. So my favorite was that monster at the end of the book. I just think that is a fantastic book, and it can be made up and played on, and it's so fun. But anyway, I am going to go. It looks like I've finished the blue, and I really got lazy at the end. My eyes are closing on that 4-hour sleep. My eyes are starting to feel heavy, even though I really, really want to color, and I really, really want to keep chatting with you guys because I haven't done it in too long. But I think I am going to have to go now and decide what I'm going to do. The baby is no longer crying, but I am going to make sure that everything's okay. And then I think I'm going to head to Dreamland, snuggle up with my big boy grandson, and get under those deep covers because I'm a-freezing here. And I will chat with you guys all real soon. Maybe I'll see you all in a live chat. Give me comments if you guys want to give me any feedback about watercoloring. Maybe some suggestions for where to start on YouTube. That would be fantastic. I would surely appreciate that, my dear sexy friends. And I hope all of you have a sexy week, and when you find that sexy, hold on to it and stay sexy. I love you guys. Bye.